Testing it to see if I can hear okay. So this may go a little bit funny. Let's find out. Because I'm actually watching myself live while this is going on. But hopefully this is all working and you can hear me all fine. And that should be good. So I don't know if anyone is watching yet, but this is 10 minutes before kickoff, so I'm just here to set things up and make sure that everything's working okay. I'll probably reach a certain point where I'll stop watching myself to give my computer a little bit more streaming power. Let's see if this is working yet. So I can see myself on the stream, so that's good news. And there's 0 people watching, which is interesting because I know I'm watching right now. So let's see how this is going. Okay, so there seems to be quite low latency on this. You seem to be able to hear me okay. So I'm quite happy with how this is going. So I'm going to mute myself now and say hello to everyone in the chat. I see we've got people in the chat. I am just going to send out a message to say I'm going live and the challenge is about to start. And yeah, but I hope you're all doing well out there. I don't know who's on the stream waiting for this, but I know that Niels, Eike, or Lasse may be on the other side watching this, and I say hello to you if you are. And yeah, do message me if there's anything that needs to be changed, if there's any sound issues or anything like that, while I try to talk and tweet at the same time. Hello, I see 2 people in the viewing, so do say hello if you are in there. And as I said, just about to start. Come and join me. And then twitch.tv/sickhouse.tv. Hope you've all been having a good festival so far. I have to say, it's really nice that that this is able to continue, because I am continue online despite the obvious COVID issue. Because Overkill is a really, really lovely festival. I've been there, was there in 2018 and then last year in 2019, and it's always been an absolutely delightful experience. Just wonderful crowd of people. You get to see some really incredible stuff, and this year's been no different. I was there for the BBB thing on Saturday night, the live sort of interactive. It was quite strange. It was on Mozilla Hubs, and it was this kind of interactive experience on Mozilla Hubs where they took you through this kind of story about this kind of sort of dystopian future, all these different AIs living in this weird future, and they took you through these little kind of vignettes that related to the story, and you could kind of move around in it while I had live music at the same time. It was really lovely. It was really kind of quite out there. I have poked my head into the exhibition space. My plan is to have a proper look at that tomorrow, because I've got a morning off tomorrow. So originally there was a plan that I was going to be playing some games on this stream, and then so I put off exploring the exhibition until I kind of confirmed what was going on. But it was a combination of having a few technical issues and also really wanting to do this challenge. So I'm quite glad that I am doing it. I'm doing this, and then tomorrow I get to go find the exhibition. But that 3D exhibition space does look quite incredible. I'm going to send a little message to my friends on Facebook. It's pub quiz tonight in my hometown, so hopefully some of my friends are going to forgo pub quiz to come and watch this, but you can't really tell. So I'm just going to type into my Facebook to just enjoy watching me type for a while, I guess. Just out to start my 200 game ideas in 2 hours challenge. Come and join me. And then the link, twitch.tv/SickHouseTV. There we go, that's posted. So I've got 4 minutes to to warm myself up, do my vocal exercises, me mo mamu, and all of that. Now you can see up, and I'm going to try and point to it in the right locations up there. Which way around am I? It is there. There it is. And on that screen I can see that is the the ticker for, that's going to show what prompt I need to make up a game for, and it will show you how many game ideas I've come up with and how much time I've taken. The time stops at 2 hours, so I've got to try and do 200 things in 2 hours. Ika or Lassa or Niels, if you're watching, I don't know if you've changed the little, and I've got to remember where everything is. Down there's the description. I don't know if you need to change that. I don't know if it doesn't change until I refresh, so it might have already done that. I might not have noticed. This is not a giant bottle of vodka. This is in fact water. But yeah, so it's good to be part of Overkill again, and I'm excited to be doing another thing from Overkill on Friday. So if you tune in on Friday night at, I think it's 10 p.m. Dutch time, 9 p.m. UK time, so I'm in the UK doing this at the moment, then if you tune in then on Friday, then I'm going to be bringing back Dr. Eggman, who you might have enjoyed his show last year. And Dr. Eggman is going to be doing a live interactive show where basically I'm going to be playing a bunch of games using the hacked emulator from last year. But now every time someone types something into the chat, it's going to change the sort of set of glitches and hacks that go on that I have to put up with. So the challenge is basically see how many games I can complete, and it's up to you to try and mess me up or just find ways to spawn interesting and beautiful effects into the world. I noticed the time's nearly changing to 9 o'clock. I noticed we've got a couple more viewers, so hello new viewers. So just to give you a little rundown of what's going to go on. If you type anything into the chat, then that's going to come up on the stream. So I'll start it. Once I start this off, I will start the thing. But you're going to see that whenever you type something, it is going to appear on the screen, and that shows that it has been added to the pool of words that I'm going to have to come up with games about. Hello, Mother Terry. So everything that gets typed into chat, once I turn the thing on, so that comment there, if I'd had the thing on, it would have been added, which is good. Everything that you type into chat is going to get added to the pool. Put your ideas in the chat. Something will come up on the screen, and I will need to come up with a game idea about that thing. Hi, Lassa. Good to hear from you. How are you doing? So basically, once I start the clock, which I think I'm going to give it a couple more minutes just for people to file in before I start up the clock, And then I'm going to switch the bot on. The bot's going to start reading from the chat, and that is going to be what makes the magic happen. And when the magic's happening, you are going to see, hopefully, lots of cool stuff on the screen. I wonder if I can get it so I just see the chat, if I need to see... because I'd quite like to still have the chat visible without needing to watch me moving around. But okay, so I've paused the stream on my side. Maybe that's going to be good for my computer and allow me to just kind of focus on the top screen without having my my eyes pointing towards my face all the time. I do find my own face quite distracting. I guess we've all kind of found that from being on video chat and Zoom over the past 10 months. So, hello new viewers, welcome to the main event. Once I start the clock, anything that you type into the chat box will become a prompt for me to come up with a game idea for. So I'm going to have 2 hours on the clock, and within those 2 hours, I need to come up with 200 game ideas. So that is less than an idea a minute. So, I mean, you've heard the phrase ideas are cheap before. Now they are cheap and quick. I wonder if I can just add in some text just to say basically what I've just said. So kind of better, like I'm hiding at the moment. Anything you type into chat gets added into the pool of word prompts. Hours to come up with 200 new game ideas based on the prompt. And now I wonder if I can, if I just do it in Arial so it's the same as the above. Oh wow, I went hidden there. Hello everyone, hey Jim, hey Blind One, and hello Lily as well, good to see you all. I might just can I edit this text ever so slightly, and then I think I'll be ready to start the clock, and then it's time to wish me luck. There we go. There we go. There's some instructional text down at the bottom, making it nice and visible. There we go. That looks working. That looks nice and snazzy. So, I think it's about time for me to start the countdown. So, quick blow of the nose first. You know, gotta let the air cycle through me. What is Sick House TV? So, Sick House TV is part of, well, the Overkill Festival is part of Sick House. So Sick House is a kind of cultural centre, club centre. I mean, I don't know how to really describe it. It used to be it's sort of a kind of nightclub type venue that was set inside an old disused hospital, hence the name Sick House. And they do kind of like arts events, and they do cinema nights and stuff like that. Obviously the original Sick House had to be closed down, and they've moved it elsewhere, but they've kept on the name of Sick House. Every year, Sick House runs an event called the Overkill. And the Overkill is an event of games, new technology, new media, sort of play and performance, and it's based in the Netherlands, in Enschede, which I'm sure Lasse can tell me whether I am pronouncing that correct. Every November, December, there's usually a kind of weekend-long event, which used to be run out of the hospital. Can't do it physically this year, so they're doing a virtual one this year. So there are, if you go to the overkill.nl, you'll be able to see the exhibition. So there's a live museum space where you can go and wander around the exhibition with other people. They've got video art. They've got links to games to download, which are part of the festival, and a range of streaming events going on over the course of the next week. I think it goes on until the end of Friday. So Lasse, who's Mother Terry in the chat, can confirm that. But without further ado, I think it's time for us to start the challenge. So hello to everyone in the chat. Good to see you. Get those typing fingers ready, because I am about to switch on the bot. Let me just open up this terminal. And with a 3 and a 2 and a 1, the bot is now running. So hopefully if you type something into the chat, it's going to come up and you're going to see that on the screen. And I am going to start the clock. I have preceded this, so in case no one types anything, I have a bunch of verbs beginning with the letter A to tide me over. The clock will start in 3, 2... I'm wondering why that... Oh, pumpkin pie. Now, why hasn't that appeared in... I just want to know why that hasn't appeared in the logs. Just a few technical issues here. That has come through. Okay, let's try it. I may have to improvise a little if I may have to go to technical issues if it doesn't work. So, wish me luck. The clock starts in 3, 2, fun, advise. So, a game where you play, let's say, a legal advisor. So, something like, what's that game? The lawyer game where you shout objection. So, what if you are the person in a law room who's like an advisor to a lawyer or something, and you have to keep on feeding different bits of information to the lawyer as they're doing their kind of Atticus Finch style marching up and down. So it's all controlled through the things that you are giving to the other person. Now, I am going to just check some things here. You might get to see some fun debug stuff here. I might start the clock again because this is not going... Okay, leaping has been added to the pool. So it got that. So hopefully it is working now. I'm just wondering why it took so long for that to thing. So I'm not going to restart the clock. I am just going to continue. Alight. Alight. Something has been set alight. You have to set fire to things. Let's say, you've got ropes, and you've got to burn the ropes to free the tigers, but not the ropes that are attached to bombs. So there's ropes attached to tigers' necks, and if you burn the ropes, the tigers go free. But there's also ropes attached to bombs, and the bombs will explode, and the ropes are all kind of weaving in and out each other, so you have to quickly follow the lines. So it's one of those kind of maze following with your finger games. Here's our website, theoverkill.nl. Oh god, okay, there needs to be like an ARG that is based on the Overkill website. So you go to the Overkill website, and there are clues and things, scattered around the place. But that's not specific enough. I want to be more specific. These are good ideas. These are supposed to be good ideas, not just any old idea. what would else would it be? You want to use the colours and things. So on the Overkill website, you use the colours, like clicking different, because there's like the pink strands and the green strands, and you kind of, like, you click on one of them, you click on the different colours on the website to activate different things, and that's your main mode of interacting with it, is clicking the coloured pixels on the website UI itself. Tinsel. So tinsel, wrapping tinsel around a Christmas tree is the obvious one. But how can we make that interesting? What's the but here? What's the thing, the challenge? The challenge is because tinsel is glistening. So tinsel, if you get the shiny bits in your eyes, it hurts your eyes. So what if you're doing it in VR and you're trying to hang up tinsel, but if you hold the tinsel wrong, it glints in your eyes. And maybe it's like the tree is like a weeping angel. So every time you can't see the tree, it moves in some way. And you've got to try and hang the tinsel on the tree in the right places. Whipped cream powered cars. A game about whipped cream powered cars. So the obvious one is obviously a racing game. But whipped cream's an interesting thing because you can create like a trail of oil or something, like an oil slick out of whipped cream. Your car's driving around, I'm thinking something top down, like micro machines. As your cars drive around, they leave a slippery trail behind them, and that makes it harder for the other racers. But you, as a racer, like, you have to do the same laps over and over again, so the track ends up with more and more whipped cream on them. So maybe it doesn't need other racers at all. Maybe it's just you against yourself going around this really precarious track as it gets slipperier with each lap you do. That's actually quite a fun idea. I quite like that one. A British techno comedian / game host. So, okay, so that I'm assuming that's meant to be a reference to me. But what popped into my head is like a techno like Moby or something. So it's Moby's game show. And in Moby's game show, what does Moby do in his game show? He lays down sick tracks. What could you do? It's Wheel of Fortune. That's got a nice interactive spinning wheel thing. Okay, it's Wheel of Fortune, but you're spinning DJ tunes with it. So you're kind of like, you want to do a kick-ass DJ tune, like DJ Hero or something like that, or Guitar Hero. But the wheel you're using is the wheel from the Wheel of Fortune, so it's giant, and you also get or lose money depending on what it's pointing to. So you want to do the sick beats, but you want to do the sick beats on the parts of the wheel that don't lose you money. And we've got Jonathan Gover. So Jonathan Gover is an old friend of mine and Jim in the chat, from university. He used to be the president of the Game Design Society. Oh god, what would I make? I'm loving these ideas coming through at the bottom of the screen. You are doing a great job here, everyone. John Gover game. I want to do something about it presiding over a game design society. Maybe the setting is there is turmoil over what the name of the game design society should be, which I guess would be a bit of an in-joke from me and James there. Me and Jim there. I don't know if you remember the controversy. A lot of argument in the society over the name of the society. And maybe you are trying to choose between Video Game Design Society and Warwick Video Games, and you are leading the campaign. So you need to go flyering and do that, but you have to be aware of like who are the important people to flyer in order to get them to agree on your idea for the name of the society and to choose it on election day. Leaping. leaping. So, the first thing that jumps into my mind is the hurdles. So, like, okay, so athletics games. You've got the kind of Wii motion thing, you know, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. But you're not, you know, that jump thing. You jump to go over the hurdles. Do you want to do that? Would you like to do that for a marathon? Yes, that's the idea. It's a marathon of stuff from like it's a hurdle marathon. It's a hurdle marathon where you use the Wii remote stuff. But in the real world, you are allowed to rig up whatever machine you can do in the time period in order to get it to do it for you. So kind of like Scrap Heap Challenge, you have to create a Scrap Heap Challenge to make a machine that is going to run and leap over hurdles for the length of a marathon. Anatomical puppet burlesque and milk in a theatre. Okay. I mean, we've got a setting. So, I'm assuming these anatomical puppets are, like, anatomically correct. Like, they have all the, you know, like, hair and genitals and stuff. So, I mean, puppetry is an interesting mechanic. Like, marionettes, I think it would be nice to have kind of motion sensors on your fingers so you can control a marionette. And maybe there are motion sensors on all your body parts, including the wobbly bits, that are mapped to bits of this marionette, and you have to prance around on a stage and put on a theatre show as this wibbly wobbly marionette. I think that's fun in itself. I don't think that needs to be gamified. I think we'd want maybe just make a society out of it. Like you've got like a little community of weird puppet people that you walk around as, and you're all in different rooms, but you're interacting, and you just figure out what weird games you want to play out of these kind of anatomically correct marionettes, like prancing around with each other. And the milk, I think, is self-explanatory. Thank you for doing Wobbly Bits the game. I hope Wobbly Bits doesn't become the entirety of these prompts, and now that I've said it, it will. Axolotl. So an axolotl, two things about an axolotl: they are like amphibians that live in caves. The other thing is that they have an awesome name. So axolotl, they axolotl questions. It's got to be an inquisitive axolotl. Maybe. Okay, you are trying to find. It's like an encyclopedia. You've got an encyclopedia full of pages. We might need some new technology for this. You rifle through the pages. Some of them have axolotls, or salamanders if they're easy to get. Just newts and things, crawling around on them. And you have to point at the words that represent the thing that you're looking for in the encyclopedia. But if there is an axolotl in the way, you don't want to press on the axolotl. You don't want to hurt it by squeezing its head. So you have to, if you're looking for a word in the encyclopedia, like Charlemagne, and you can't press on Charlemagne because there's an axolotl on it, you need to think of another place in the encyclopedia where Charlemagne might come up. For example, Kings of France. Mouth mask monster bots. Mouth mask monster bots. So, you got a mouth mask. Monster bots. Okay, let's start with how would you control something with a mouth mask? Okay, so that can probably detect you breathing. It can detect the plosives, the sounds, the P's and the B's and the T's. It can detect those. Maybe we put in... you could probably put in a diaphragm, kind of like a microphone on there to detect these things. And Monster bots. That's the okay. So how would we use these to control monster bots? Well, maybe actually no. Okay. If we can sense like what vowel sound you're doing from your face mask, and then or like what consonant you're doing or something. So B, T, B, T, K, D. Like each of those consonant sounds controls a different limb on this kind of robot monster, and you have to make the robot monster walk around by controlling its four legs individually using the different plosive sounds on this microphone attached to the mask. Bees, knees and keys. So there's no apostrophe there and there's no comma there. So I could take this either way. Do I do it about the knees that belong to bees, or is it bees, comma, knees and keys? And that... Oh, okay. Bees, knees and keys. You have a bag, and inside this bag are bees, and there are knees, like as in human bones, maybe still with a bit of like flesh attached to them, and keys. And you reach into the bag, and two competitors reach into a bag, you pull one out at the same time. Bees beat knees, because bees are the bee's knees. Knees beat keys, because you can hold a key in your knee. And bees and keys beat bees, because if you've ever thrown a set of keys at a bee, it doesn't like it that much. It's paper, scissors, rock. Except for the fact, there's this added thing, is that no one's going to go for bees. Because if you try and grab a bee, the bee will sting you. But that means that you know that your opponent's not going to go for bees, so they're going to go for knees and keys, and so it's safe for you to go for bees, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to labour this, but there is a kind of a weightedness to the paper, scissors, rock, not coming from the fact that, you know, one of them earns you more money or something, but just like, you know, if you get stung by a bee, then you don't want that to happen, so you're less likely to do it, and that's going to affect the rock, paper, scissors game. Attack. This is just from the list of verbs, so let's get through this quickly. Attack. Attack. Okay, so we'll do a kind of a war game. Let's say Norman Conquest or something. It's a war game where you've got soldiers lined up with swords and spears and things. You need to shout attack to make them attack. But we actually make it like a kind of puzzle game, or like Breakout or something like that, where you need to shout attack to launch, you know, to send your troops forward, and they will act kind of like a ball bouncing around the thing. So you're controlling them by shouting attack, but what they're playing in is not a traditional battle, but something more akin to a scrolling shooter or Breakout or a puzzle game. Yawning. So yawning is infectious. You've got one person who's the yawner, and they are... Oh, you could do this with real people. You could do this like at a party. One person goes around yawning, and if they yawn, someone else has to, the next person has to yawn as well. So you got one person is the yawner, and if someone yawns next to you, then you have to yawn as well. And maybe there's one person who's trying to avoid getting yawned at all, and they have to figure out who the original yawner is. So it's kind of like Wink Murder or something, except you're walking around the party yawning at people. Caterpillars versus butterflies. I mean, there's this point in that story where you get to the kind of we're not so different, you and I moment with the caterpillars versus butterflies. Okay, I'm imagining caterpillars riding on the back of butterflies and soaring through the air, kind of like Lilac Wars, Star Fox style, shooting stuff down. So you're flying on the back of... you're a butterfly, but you can throw caterpillars at things. But you want to save your caterpillars, because over time the caterpillars will turn into, they will make cocoons, and the cocoons are more powerful than the caterpillars, so you want to save your shots so they can turn into cocoons, and then you can fire the powerful shots. But if you wait too long, they turn into butterflies, and the butterflies like fly away carrying you. So you can't let them turn into butterflies because they'll fly away with you. Kitchen execution. So are we executing something in a kitchen, or are we trying to come up with the perfect kitchen layout? Okay, well, sorry, I've got to go with the obvious one. It's got to be an execution that happens in a kitchen. Why would something be executed in a kitchen? Because, who's that angry chef? Who's the angry chef? The one who's effing and jeffing all the time. Come on, who's that guy who swears a lot? The TV chef who swears a lot. Anyway, that angry man, he is he has too much power now. Gordon Ramsay, thank you. Lots of people adding Ramsay, excellent. I'm going to have a lot of Gordon and Ramsay games to make soon. Okay, Gordon Ramsay he has too much power. He is king of the kitchen. You are in this kitchen, and you are trying to overthrow Gordon Ramsay, who is the king. Do we do it? How would you do it? Or maybe, okay, are we trying to assassinate Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen? You could do it kind of like Hitman, where you're kind of sneaking around the kitchen with lots of kitchen implements. Or we could do it as, I want to do it as a kind of tabletop RPG. We've got a kind of Game of Thrones feeling about it, where everyone is out to kill the king, Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay has the power to execute at will, but, that will harm his standing in the kitchen and all that. And you are all plotting against Gordon Ramsay, and maybe one of you in the group is Gordon Ramsay, so you need to have these conversations in secret. Have there ever been any tabletop RPGs where you have to have your conversations in secret? I don't know. If there isn't, then go write one now with this idea. Assess. Okay, I'm thinking accounting. You are doing your self-assessment tax returns. And you are trying to come up with as many kind of tax loopholes as you can, like claim as many things as expenses. So toilet paper. Can you claim toilet paper as an expense? I don't know. Let's find out. Toilet paper as an expense. I don't know where else to go with that. Oh yeah. You've got news headlines coming in, and the news headlines are kind of telling you, oh, I want this, I want that. Like, oh, this is tax-free, that is tax-free, and things, and you're trying to fill stuff into the loopholes. It's weak, but there's something there. Allow, I'm going to skip it because I want to get one of yours. Blind birds. Blind birds. Or like bats without the sonar. Blind birds. So these birds are blind, they're flying around. You're trying to fly around and navigate without being able to see anything, and you're in the air. I want to do this with drones. Can we get some drones? And you have to fly the drones through the obstacle course. I'm talking real life drones here. We've got multiple drones tied together. And you can see only the drone at the front has a camera attached to it, so it can see where it's going. The chain of drones behind them, all tied together like a kind of drone centipede. They can they get sensed of like what what impulses, like what way gravity's going, the sort of like motion sensors, so they can detect when they're being pulled and in what direction, but they don't get any sense of like sight. There's no cameras attached to them. So all the drone pilots in the chain have to figure out how to pilot their drones without like crashing into the obstacles by following the leader, who's giving them inputs through motion controls attached to strings. Damien Hirst. Okay, so Damien Hirst. Lily and I, is Lily still in the chat? Hello if you are. We did have a discussion about Damien Hirst pulling his own skull out to attach rhinestones to it. So that's got to be our starting point is, okay, you're Damien Hirst without a skull. You are trying to break into the museum where they have your skull with all the gems in it, because that's your actual skull, and you need that to keep your brains in. And it's kind of like Octodad or something, except you're Damien Hirst without bones. And you're trying to get through the security system in that, but you're all wobbly and kind of like sticky because you have no bones, so you're kind of like a Damien Hirst shaped blob. And like your senses and kind of muscles and things are kind of attached, so you have to be careful about how you move, because if your kind of wobbly Hirst flesh goes over your eyes, you can't see, and things like that, so you need to use your senses to move around. I kind of want to make a wobbly Damien Hirst with no bones now, just for that game. Wobbly Bits, the game. Okay, so this needs to be a sequel starring Damien Hirst without bones. Let's take the game. What's the game? You all just lost the game. See you later, Jiffy. Unless that is, that could be the name of the game. Adios, Ali. Wobbly Bits, the game. Is the game a rapper? The game is a rapper, which makes me think we want to do a kind of a rapping thing, where you are Damien Hirst without bones, and it's a music game where you have to make him make drum beats by kind of like slapping his hand flesh upon his chest flesh, to make drum beats. And you also need to make him like open and close his mouth to make him sing. So it's a rhythm game where you make different sounds in time with the music by moving Damien Hirst's gelatinous blob stuff. Shark Tear Collector. Okay, this is going to be part of the Damien Hirst saga. Because a shark, why is a shark crying? Because it's been cut in half. And it wants to, like, it's collecting its tears. It's sitting in this vat of formaldehyde, and it's reminiscing. It's going, where did it all go wrong? And how do you interact with it? I kind of feel like you want to be the half a shark's one friend, talking to it through it, and you have these conversation trees. So this is a kind of like narrative art game where you're talking to Damien Hirst's art, and it's sharing with it its lost memories, and maybe you can preserve your own memories as well by throwing them into the formaldehyde so that they are preserved as well. So you preserve your idea, so you're giving something back to it, and maybe the half a shark in the vat of formaldehyde is looking for its other half, and that's the story that gets revealed to you as you find out what happened to the other half. That's quite sad and poignant, and it's funny to see fart power right next to that. Disillusionment. Thank you whoever typed that one, because that is a difficult one. Where do I go with disillusionment? Disillusionment. So I'm thinking something political. Like you're running a political campaign, and you know that disillusioned voters won't go out to vote, and voters will vote for the other person. So you're trying to drive voting numbers down. And how will you do that? You make them disillusioned. There's something to do with... so I wanted like a game about spreading a negative campaign about another political candidate. How would you gamify that? I don't want it to just be a big bunch of text and story. You know, I want it to be, what's the mechanic here? What's the thing that you're doing? And the thing that you're doing... you have to rifle through your political opponent's junk, finding evidence, and then finding different ways you can frame that evidence, and who you need to distribute it to in order that the other people will become disillusioned with their candidate. Kind of negative campaigning themed game. Super happy fun slides. Okay, I want to do something like Pecha Kucha. You know, there's this game, well, it's not a game, it's a slideshow that is done at, like, public speaking events, where what they do is they give you, like, you have a set of slides, and you only have 20 seconds on each one, so you have to get over your point. You can't labour it, you can't dawdle. So on the Super Happy Fun slides, I know there is an improv game where you have to you get given a random slideshow and you just have to come up with a talk about those slides on the spot, as if you knew exactly what you were talking about. So I can't just copy that idea, but how can I fiddle it so it becomes my idea? Okay, Russian roulette, but like instead of a loaded gun, it's an old slide reel, and it's got like your naked baby photos in amongst your holiday slides, and you have to spin it round and then press click, and then you quote unquote die of embarrassment when they see your naked baby photos. So I think this was from the defaults one, so I'll try and make this quick because I want to get to your ones. Admit a ticket to the cinema admits one. You need to try and get as many of your friends into the cinema to see Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, with the one cinema ticket. So you have to all try and kind of disguise yourselves to look like the same kid over and over again, or maybe wear a big long trench coat or something like that. Danger Tetris! So, I want to say Tetris with real bricks, and like you play on your toes. So you need to drop the real bricks down on your, like, onto your feet, and try and make as many like lines as you can. And obviously, like, you want to avoid dropping a brick on your feet. If it collapses, it will fall onto your feet and break your toes. So you want to build as big a tower of bricks as you can by dropping them from head height and hoping that they don't land on your toes. Lampshade Frenzy. That would be a cool name, like, I don't know what for. Like a name for a person, I guess. So, Lampshade Frenzy. So, all the lamps in the house are on, and everyone is trying to get to sleep, but the lamps won't go off. And the best thing that you can do is put a lampshade on, like a dark lampshade, and that will cause it to be dark enough for the person in the room to sleep. Once they're asleep, they won't notice the lights are on. So you can take the lampshade off. So you need to go from room to room, moving lampshade from room to room, and trying to keep an eye on who needs a lampshade and things, in order to try and get everyone to sleep. And of course, if people wake up and have nightmares, you'll have to go back in again and put a new lampshade on so they can go to sleep. So it's like, you know, you've got 20 lamps and 3 lampshades or something. Chessboard cheese cutters. So chessboard cheese cutters. Oh God, this is tough. So we're half an hour in, and I'm starting to feel the kind of the fresh-faced energy starting to drop a bit. And so here's where the real challenge begins. Everyone can tell I am on schedule to do 200 game ideas in 2 hours. Okay, chessboard cheese cutters. Oh God, okay, this is a hard one. It's chess on a board made out of cheese. If you take someone on a square, then you can eat that square. And that square gets eliminated from the game. Nothing can move into that square. So you can force a checkmate maybe by removing squares from the game by eating them because they're made of cheese. Yeah, I think I described it. Ask me to describe it again if I didn't describe it clearly enough, because I can picture that clearly in my head, but I don't know if I described what I was picturing clearly in my head. Gladiator ready, contender ready. So we want to make a game for the TV show Gladiators. Anyone who didn't see the TV show Gladiators or the American TV show American Gladiators, what it is it's a series of physical challenges. Like, they involve running and climbing and throwing balls and hitting each other with sticks with pads on the end. And what they have to do is compete in these challenges against the gladiators, which are the kind of house athletes. And in the, like, before everything, the referee shouts, "Gladiators ready, contenders ready," and everyone cheers. So what would be the game? Okay, let's go with the gladiators thing. Let's think about that. I mean, has anyone actually made a game out of the pugil stick thing from Gladiators? I think this is a totally new idea. I don't think anyone has actually made a video game out of the pugil stick thing from Gladiators. So honestly, I'm just going to do that. 2 of you standing on big, long pillars, and you have, like, you know Darth Maul's double-ended lightsaber. Imagine that with just 2 big bits of sponge on the end. And you have to whack each other off the pillar. So you could do that in VR, trying to whack each other off the pillar, or maybe it's like there's hordes of enemies jumping down after you, and you have to kind of sword fight them off this pillar. Deadly diet. The deadly diet is where you eat deadly nightshade to get thin. Something involving skeletons. People wanting to get skeleton thin by eating deadly nightshade. That's a bit bleak. So let's lighten this up. Okay, skeleton dieting advice. Hungry skeletons are running around a sweet shop eating all of the things, and the sweets are going everywhere, and you need to follow behind the skeletons and collect up the things that fall out of them and put them back onto the shelves they came from. Because skeletons, the food just falls through them, but it just kind of falls over, all over the floor. So you have them to clean up over all of the bits that are dropped from the inside of this skeleton. Saucy swiping. Saucy swiping. I mean, Tinder is the obvious idea there, so let's go a little bit afield. Let's think about sauce. HP sauce, tomato ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise. That you're at a chip shop. There is only one bottle of ketchup. Everybody wants the ketchup. but it's Britain, so everyone is far too polite to just grab it from people, or at least and be seen doing that. So your job is to swipe it. It's like a stealth game where you're in a chip shop and you're hiding under the tables trying to grab ketchup. I want to do this with real ketchup and real people, and maybe there's a mayonnaise team and there's a ketchup team, and they're trying to get the respective. They are trying to get all of the bottles before anyone else. Could we do this in a real restaurant? It's a game that you play if you are waiting staff in a pub, where you want to hoard one particular sauce or condiment before your opponent can hoard every one of theirs. So I'm trying to get every single ketchup in the pub. You're trying to get every single mustard in the pub. It's Sunday. It's a busy day, and we need to take it away from people while they're eating, and we need to find excuses. Yeah, I think that's good. Barista Bonanza. Coffee making. So you want to make the coffees that people order, but because people are full of coffee, they're coming up with loads of, like, giving these really random orders. Okay, I want to do something with a real barista coffee machine. A real barista coffee machine, and what would be the game? Because hot water comes out of that. You've got the thing that splits the coffee into 2 cups. So I want a game which is controlled using hot water. Can we get some heat sensors that can detect when hot water is pouring on them? And let's just say you're playing any game, Pac-Man, Sonic, whatever. The controller is a barista coffee maker with weight sensors and heat sensors on them. So you make coffee in order to control the game. Gordon. Gordon, that was in reference to Gordon Ramsay. Other famous Gordons. My dad's called Gordon. Gordon was the 4th member of the Thunderbirds team. Gordon the Gopher was a TV puppet with a squeaker. And it was like, the TV host, it was Philip Schofield, used to, he'd have his hand in the puppet, or someone would have their hand in the puppet, and it was this little gopher puppet with a squeaker in its mouth, so it would squeak. And that was how it had a character and a personality. So a Gordon the Gopher game would be that you're Gordon the Gopher, you're trapped on TV, you need to communicate with the outside world, but you can only squeak. So you need to figure out with someone on the other side of the screen. It's like an escape room where there's some stuff on the other side of the screen the other person is doing. They can direct you to an earpiece, but you can only communicate back by squeaking. So you have to collaborate to share information with each other. And one of you is controlling a Gordon the Gopher hand puppet on the other side of a camera. Damien Hirst 2 Shark Boogaloo. So let's return to our boneless Damien Hirst. And we got another sequel. There were 2 different Wonder Boy 3s, so there can be 2 different Damien Hirst 2s. Shark Boogaloo. Damien Hirst. Maybe he has some makeshift bones for this one, just so he can control the shark. It's like snowboarding. You're going down a steep slope, except you are riding on half of a shark. And so you have to pull on different bits of the shark to kind of control it, like a weird kind of fleshy toboggan. I would want to do this with a real half a shark if we could. If we can't... tobogganing down a hill on half a shark with Damien Hirst will have realistic physics, so the shape of this shark affects it. That's good. Aubergine Mayhem. Aubergine Mayhem. Okay, Aubergine Mayhem. Well, aubergine, the aubergine emoji, I don't know if this is still a thing, but it was a thing apparently. On Grindr, it used to be an emoji that people used to use to refer to their penis. Now, so, Aubergine Mayhem would... Okay, well now he's just thinking this is just like a penis-themed game. And I'm thinking, okay, do I want to go here? I mean, we are after the watershed, so, God, I am enjoying watching these suggestions come through, by the way. Aubergine Mayhem, Aubergine Mayhem, oh my god, okay, you're on Tinder, and you set up a bunch of profiles which are aubergines, and a set of profiles which are real human beings. And you have to tell the difference between which ones are aubergines and which ones are real people. Now, the real people are just real people we source from... Okay, no, you stick an aubergine, you make a Tinder profile for an aubergine. And then, like, you have to see, like, you get a point for every person who swipes right on your aubergine. It is literally an aubergine. The comment is, I am an aubergine. And the game is, who can find the most attractive aubergine, which aubergine is going to get the most right swipes on Tinder. Did it. Okay, local currency outside of national banks. Good. Okay, local currency outside of national banks. You are you are working in a bank. You are a bank teller. You know you're behind the thing. You are getting in all the currency. And people bring in all these different currency. You have to throw them. You have to throw the bad currency at people because people are coming in and they're bringing in like sterling, and you're like, that's worthless, you know. Like they're leaving the EU. This money is worthless now. So you have to throw. If you check if it's sterling, if it's a euro, you keep it. If it's sterling, you throw it back at them so they don't come back again. And it's like coins are difficult to throw, so you have to try and angle it right. So there we go. Heavy sterling coins hitting people in the head. Influencer. I am not sure the significance of the H in brackets there. Influencer. That sounds like influenza. Okay, could we have a game which is played on Twitch? That's a good start. And you're trying to influence something. What are you trying to influence? Okay, this is going to sound weird, but we could, you know the, like Skinner boxes where you have a rat in a box and you train the rat to pull the lever to get the food. And we have two levers that, like, propel a little go-kart or something. We'll arrange one forward, one left, one right. Different levers to control the thing. And we need to train the rat in order to get it to drive the car. And maybe it's a race. It's you and another person. Each have a rat in a Skinner box car. And you are trying to train it by feeding it food in order to get it to get through the obstacle course before your opponent does. You're using the influence of food. Mouth-wide shout. Okay, so a game that is controlled by shouting. And what would you be controlling by shouting? So, I've done Sonic control by shouting before. Let's think of something else interesting that could be done by shouting. Shouting. You are. Oh God! Okay, come on. Think shouting. Help me. Shout. Okay. You have a thing of playing cards, a stack of playing cards, and you have to shout at it in order to knock it down. And maybe different cards have different resonant frequencies. Like there's glass cards and there's metal cards, and maybe you need to knock down the structure of cards by singing at specific cards to make them collapse and fall over. Flow helmet. Flow helmet. Okay, so we set up a bunch of like water carrier things, and you need to get the water into the plants. There's plants at the bottom, and maybe some plants need like baby bio. Maybe there's a family of ducks or something that needs to go to the pond, and you have these kind of like gutters on your helmets, and you have to arrange yourselves into different patterns so that the water can flow into the ponds, the plants, and things like that. Roomba Rampage. Roombas. I mean, the obvious one is you would want like to add weapons to the Roombas and make them like Robot Wars. But let's take the idea of the Pugil Sticks game where you're trying to, maybe you're jousting. You are jousting, you are holding, oh, thank you very much, Captain Disco. You are holding swords and things, and you have to have a sword fight. You have to push each other off their Roombas while the Roombas are going around cleaning your room with you on top. And maybe you can kind of like coax the Roombas into different places by throwing dirt on the ground so the Roomba goes towards it. And yeah, you have a sword fight or something standing on top of Roombas, and then you end up like spinning around and things like that. The Travelator from Gladiators UK. So I mean that is quite a fully fleshed out idea. So how would we turn that into a game? And the way that we would turn that into a game is by giving you different stunts that you had to do while you're running on it. So there's like, there might be a kind of a hard stunt and an easy stunt. And I want to do this with a real Travelator. So you're both running up the Travelator. You want to stay on it. You don't want to get to the top. And then it's going to say, for 10 points, do a front flip. For 50 points, do a back flip. And you have to do as many of the stunts as you can on the Travelator to build up more points than your opponent. And there's a kind of risk element involved because you could do an easier stunt, but you would get fewer points. But if you do the difficult stunt, then you get more points and you're more likely to win the game. Mischief, the game. Okay, so Mischief. What would be a mischievous thing to do or to cause mischief? Imagine like Hitman or Metal Gear Solid just setting out whoopee cushions under people's bums when they sit down. And maybe that is interesting, is that, okay, yes, you are some kind of stealth ninja, Hitman, Metal Gear Solid man, whatever, in a room full of people at a big fancy party. There's lots of seats around the place. You put your whoopee cushion down, someone sits on it, everyone turns around, they're distracted. That means you can put a whoopee cushion under someone else's bum, and then they sit down and everyone's distracted. And you need to try and get a whoopee cushion under as many bums as you can without being noticed. A whoopee cushion is one of those kind of rubber bags which you blow into and then it seals shut, and then when someone sits on it, it makes a fart noise. That's what I was talking about, if you don't know what a whoopee cushion is. Overdue beer bottles. So you've got your beer bottles from the library and they're overdue. It was like, oh, return by Tuesday the 1st. And you're like, oh no, it was Tuesday the 1st yesterday. Overdue beer bottles. Or is it that the beer bottles are going to give birth? Like they're due a baby? And maybe that's when new beer bottles comes. So you have to be a midwife to beer bottles? It's a weird idea. And well, good thing I said that. Giving birth simulator's just been added to the pool. Thanks, Ica. So, overdue beer bottles, they're starting to smell. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Some of the beer has gone off and is growing mouldy. You need to take the beer bottles and pass them around, but you can't hand people the mouldy ones. And maybe there is a time limit to the whole thing because you want to get all the beer bottles off the wall except for the mouldy ones, but everyone's got to pass it around first. There's a timing thing. So you only have so much time to smell the bottles and remember which ones are where. Maybe the bottles on the walls, will move around and shuffle of their own accord. So as well as, 99 bottles is a lot to keep track of. So you need to try and remember which ones you smelt and were bad and which ones are okay. And they're all moving around. Anticipate, that's from the debug thing. So, Himalayan Sea Salt Tycoon. Okay, that's quite close to a fully fleshed out idea, I think. I'm going to take the Himalayan sea salt, and ask, what is the Himalayan sea salt about? You have a mountain of salt, and you are trying to pass it off as cocaine. And it's like Breaking Bad, except you're the one person who isn't a drug dealer, and you're trying to get by. So it's like, what would the gameplay of that be? Because it's a tycoon thing. You need to... Okay, so it's a sort of management sim where you are a salt salesman, and you've got this fake Himalayan sea salt, fake cocaine, which is actually just salt, and you are sending the salt around the world as an illegal drug, passing it off as cocaine, and it is... and you also have to pay, you have to keep track of which punters realise that you've actually sold them salt, and then you have to pay for different measures. You might kill them, you might imprison them, you might hide them, bury them, or whatever, so that they don't spill the beans and share the secret to the other people you're selling the salt to. Adios, Ali. I'm very bad at saying goodbye. When I say cheerio, and I don't if it's if I've said goodbye, if I leave now and don't listen to them saying goodbye, then will that be rude? But then if they say goodbye and then I don't say goodbye back, even though I've just said goodbye, am I being rude? Am I ignoring them? So I'm terrible at saying goodbye. I'll just stick around saying goodbye, not wanting to be impolite. So the best way, you have to actively get rid of me. It's quite hard. And maybe that's the challenge. Okay, it's one of those games that you play in real life, where it's like getting the last word in. It's like you're at a party. In real life, you go to a party, and then you leave early, like 1 hour before you plan to leave, you start saying goodbye to everyone. And your aim is to go for a whole hour saying goodbye to people without anyone commenting that it's weird that you've not left yet. Tops of the crops. So the tops of the crops are the bits that you make bread from. Okay, you are driving a combine harvester, harvesting up all of the wheat to make bread with, and maybe there's field mice in there, so you want to avoid the field mice. So you're driving a combine harvester, field mice will pop out, you want to drive and swerve out of the way, so you're trying to maximize the amount of wheat that you pick up in your combine harvester, but you also don't want to run over the field mice, and I don't know what the drawback would be for running over a field mouse. So, but we've got to move on. Merkel, Putin, and Hugh Hefner. Okay. So we've got the Chancellor of Germany. We've got the President of Russia. And then Hugh Hefner used to own Playboy magazine. And I guess they all walk into a bar. And okay, let's think something like Resistance or Avalon or Secret Hitler or something like that. And these are the three special roles. And how are they going to interact with each other? Hugh Hefner, it's a party game, and each of you has a different role. So you play this at a real-life party. Everybody is given a secret role on a card. Most people are given, your secret role is nothing. Someone will be given the role Angela Merkel, someone will be given the role Vladimir Putin, and one person will give them the role Hugh Hefner. And it will have a task on it, and you need to do the task on your card without someone saying, are you doing this because of the card? So if you're Hugh Hefner, you have to take a photo of someone trying to look sexy. If you're Putin, you have to get in a fight with someone because he wrestled a bear. And if you're Merkel, you have to... I'm not sure... Okay, what's Merkel famous for? Other than... I guess... Germany's been quite financially prosperous recently, and they've done quite, relatively safe against COVID compared to other parts of Europe. Being an economic powerhouse. I think that's because Germany is the economic powerhouse of the EU. So, to be an economic powerhouse, you would give people money. You give someone money, and if you give someone some money and they say, are you doing this because of your card, then you lose. So, try chewing glass. It's kind of like chewing gum, but it's glass. Try chewing glass. So, how to turn that into a game. So I feel like we want sort of literal bits of broken glass that go in your mouth. So let's take that as a starting point, okay? Take this as a starting point. There will be bits of broken glass in your mouth. You have a sheet of glass. You have to break it into as many small bits as you can in your mouth. The winner is who breaks it into the smaller parts. The risk-reward element is obviously the more effort you put into this, the more you're going to mess up the inside of your face. Assure that's from the debug thing. Flirt with trees. Okay, so you flirt with the trees. Okay, so you're trying to chat up a tree in real life. You go up to a tree and you try to chat it up. And then I think it's got to be something to do with the way the leaves move. You interpret that, so you have like a rule sheet of what it means when leaves move in a different way. So as soon as you match something up, it means yes, no, come hither, go away, and things like that. So you try your chat up line on the tree, and then the first like branch or leaf action, for example, leaves flutter without the branches moving, means tell me more or something. And you have to try and successfully flirt with this tree by reading its like responses from stuff that's written on a piece of card. The username catnip disco. Right. The username catnip disco. Okay, so it takes place in a disco, and there's all these cats, and maybe they're getting high on catnip, and one of the cats is so high on catnip, he can't remember his password to get into his computer. It's like, oh, he can't remember his username. And so you need to have this kind of conversation with the cat and all its friends to figure out what its username would be. And maybe there's clues around the fight, so you can kind of, by talking to its friends, you find out what it's like, so you know what to ask the other cats. And it's kind of like this network of conversations that conclude with you finding the password, the username and password for this cat in a nightclub that is off its face on catnip. Blissful disaster. So that sounds kind of apocalyptic, but apocalyptic like if you're God. Like, because if you're God and you make an apocalypse happen, it's like you wanted that to happen. Like that was your idea. So how about, okay, blissful disaster, your idea, you what if you are God and you're trying to set off as many apocalyptic events around the world, but you get points for people being killed in ridiculous ways, and it's kind of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, where you do different stunts, and for each new stunt you do, you get a big points bonus. And it's like for each interesting way, like you're making people stunt. What if you just do it like it's, we'll take it down, we've got an island, we've got these little people walking around, but they are kind of physically modelled. And you want to make explosions and eruptions and quakes and fires and things happen in order to get them to leap into the air in different ways. So it's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, where, but instead of the character does a pre-programmed trick and that gets you points, you get points by making these ragdoll people do these stunts for you by exploding the landscape around them. Palpitation generator. So palpitation's sweating, isn't it? I want to say something that uses electric shocks. So let's. Okay, how about you got a game controller which is done using kind of levers and things, like that, so everything takes a long time to move. And different actions will have different amounts of, electricity will come through your arm when you try to do those actions. So moving the lever forward might do a ton of like electrical stuff. Moving it backwards, not so much. And you are trying to navigate this world using this robot or something. And the electricity, like, there may be an optimal route through the level, but if it means that you have to move the levers that give you the most pain, then you might not want to do it. So you've got this kind of risk-reward play going on there. Ramsay. Is this Gordon Ramsay? Is this Ramsay Street from the popular Australian soap opera Neighbours? Okay, let's go with Gordon Ramsay because that's surely what prompted it. Gordon Ramsay. So we need another Gordon Ramsay game. Gordon Ramsay is angry. He is an angry chef, and he is angry. And so you need to chop vegetables. Like he's got a knife. Gordon Ramsay is rampaging around with a knife, and he's chasing after you with like a butcher's knife. You have to run around the kitchen finding choppable food and throwing it in his way. And because if he gets food and he's like, I've got a knife, I've got to chop it. And so you can distract him by throwing food at him to chop. So you're kind of running around this it's kind of like Pac-Man. He's like the ghost chasing after you. And you throw food at him in order to make him chop it so you can survive longer. McBurger Chicken, the game. Yes, the famous old Scottish clan, the McBurger Chickens. So, is that like a Big Mac with a slice of chicken in it? Okay, where would I take this? McBurger Chicken. McBurger Chicken. Okay, is there a game that we could make using a chicken burger? So you want to, like... What sensors could we put in a chicken burger that could detect whether you're eating it? Maybe we attach, like, jaw sensors. Can we get motion sensors on the jaw? Like that, so it can detect your jawing going up and down. And you are trying to control a game by eating a burger. Maybe you're trying to fly a plane. A chicken is flying, trying to escape from the farm, like Chicken Run, by flying, and you control its wings by chewing a burger. And so you can like chew on one side to flat one side to sort of turn the chicken around. But in order to keep playing, you need to keep on eating chicken burgers. Perfumery. Ooh. That's... Okay, a game played using the sense of smell. You have a... Okay, you've got a bunch of bottles. So, there was a conceptual artist. It might have been Yoko Ono. It might have been someone else. I read about it in a book which talked about Yoko Ono's work, so that's why I'm thinking Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono did make a really interesting chess game where all the pieces are white, and you have to remember which pieces belong to which player. That's cool. Someone who may have been Yoko Ono made smell chess, where the chess pieces are little jars of perfume, and you have to smell them. So what other games could we play with jars of perfume? What about battleships? Where you have to smell it to find out if it's a hit or a miss. That doesn't work. You want something where where it being visual is the point. So like a game we can come up with where it matters that you can see what's going on. Okay, let's take something like Bejeweled or something. Bejeweled, which is, you have to swipe the gems to swap them around, get 3 gems in a row, they'll disappear. And the jewels all emit scent, so you have to smell to figure out what you can swap. And they swap around, and I'm sure we could rig some kind of mechanical thing to, reveal different scents as you play it. So yeah, scent-based Bejeweled, there we go. Graduation photos. So, what can I say about graduation photos? A game where... Okay, so I remember my university graduation photos. It was kind of... I feel like it was a little bit hectic, and there was this whole thing of, getting everyone there, and you kind of get in, you got the right size hat, you sit down, you hold the piece of plastic that's meant to look like a scroll, because they won't, you haven't received your actual certificate yet, and you wouldn't want to roll that up anyway, so you hold a piece of plastic, and... Okay, you're a photographer. You're a photographer at graduations. All the people are moving around, and you need to snap the shots where everybody is looking at the camera at the same time. So it's like Pokemon Snap or something, where you've got to get the best pose or whatever. But this, it's based on is how much is everyone looking at the camera. So I seem to have just left the chat room and rejoined. So if there are problems, do message me in the chat. Obviously, that will come up in the chat. So I'll have to make a game about there are problems. Seriously, Ika or Lassa, just message me on Facebook if something has gone wrong. Anyway, I am going to continue. Super Mash Brawl. So in Super Mash Brawl, got monsters made out of mashed potato. It's like Super Smash Brothers where you're jumping around, hitting each other, but you're all made of mashed potato, which means that when you get hit, bits of mashed potato fly off of you, but they all get controlled by the same control. So if you get split into 2 bits of mashed potato, then when you press left, the mashed potato will move left, and when you press right, the mashed potato will move right. But both bits all at the same time, so you end up controlling multiple small characters because everyone's getting beaten up and split into smaller bits and pieces. Hedgehog Cactus. That sounds like a name for a gumshoe detective. Hedgehog. The name's Hedgehog Cactus. See. So Hedgehog Cactus. Okay, it's a stealth game, but you're a hedgehog in the desert. So it's really kind of wide open space. It's bleak. It's really obvious where you are. So the one thing that you can do to hide yourself is pretend to be a cactus. So you are a ninja hedgehog in the big vast desert, pretending to be a cactus sometimes. So hedgehog ninjas wear green instead of black because that means they can pretend to be cactuses. That's how hedgehog ninjas work now. And you need to get to Area 51 without being noticed. And you start from, let's say Albuquerque, and you need to cross the desert to get to Area 51 without being spotted by the security. And of course, you've got these big, wide open spaces. I think it would be interesting to see a stealth game where they use big, wide open spaces instead of kind of small spaces, like tight, enclosed spaces. Gummy Bear Glitter. Gary Glitter's long-lost twin. Gummy Bear Glitter. So someone sends you an envelope filled with gummy bears, and then the gummy bears go everywhere. Oh my god, the gummy bears have gone everywhere. And the Gummy bear glitter. What would you do with an envelope full of gummy bears? You have to send each other coded messages by putting different colours of gummy bear in an envelope. So it's like maybe you're trying to help someone solve a maths riddle on another side of a door, and you're giving them like numbers in the form of gummy bears in an envelope of different colours. So you might choose to make blue gummy bear is worth 100, red gummy bear is worth 10, and green gummy bear is worth 1. And so you send each other numbers like that. But the person on the other side of the wall has to figure out your numerical system from what you're sending them. I'm quite happy with that. Copyright the game. Copyright. I think, okay, you want to find... So I've had a thing once where I had 2 minutes of silence in a YouTube video, and that got a copyright strike on it. And I don't know what it, like, well, I looked up what it thought it was ripping off, and it was some kind of like, kind of Irish metal or something, like Flogging Molly or something, and it's like, okay. But originally I kind of joked that it was John Cage. Anyway, so copyright, I think it's a game you want to put up a bunch of videos that are going to get copyright struck. And maybe you do it like Top Trump style, where you've got different values depending on who copyright strikes it or how far off the thing that it gets struck for is from what you put on. So it's like... So you want to put up videos with no copyrighted... Something where you want to upload videos and see how many copyright strikes it can get or something. Or maybe it's a different copyright challenge every day where you want to get specific copyright strikes. And you can't do like, you put in if the challenge is get copyright struck as Linkin Park. The challenge is put up something that isn't Linkin Park that will get copyright struck as Linkin Park. And then, like, whoever gets the most, like, weirdest thing that gets copyright struck as Linkin Park when you upload it to YouTube wins the prize. Phoenix Wright. I mean, that already is a game. So, how would you make a game out of something that's already a game? Phoenix Wright. So that's the one that you can shout objection into the thing. I don't know the game, so I'm going to have to assume that that's, like, if you shout objection at the wrong time, then that's a bad thing. So let's say you've got 4 Phoenix Wright games going on at the same time, and you have to make it so that when you shout objection, it is correct in all 4. A bag full of dog hair. So, you got a bag full of dog hair, but inside that bag there's some human hair. And you need to find the human hairs in the bag of dog hairs or something. I mean, that's just a challenge. Let's make it into a game. Let's add an interesting decision into that. Okay, for every human hair that you pull out, or you can pull out dog hairs and pass them off as human hairs, but if your opponent correctly identifies it as a dog hair, then you lose. Something like that. What's next in a car 6? OMG, I might be a bee. I mean, that sounds like kind of AI-generated lyrics, doesn't it? Catnip Disco does not like their supervisor. Okay, so, Wasp Nest in a Car 6, OMG, I might be a bee. So, okay, a hive mind thing, where you are a swarm of wasps trying to drive a car. So we'll have a realistically modelled car, and everybody in the game, it's like massively multiplayer. Let's say there's 200 of you in the game. Each of you controls an individual wasp, and you need to to turn the steering wheel, you need like 50 of you sitting on the steering wheel and trying to pull in the same direction. So you're all trying to communally drive this car as a kind of hive mind. Shake it or bake it. Okay. I want to make a game about putting things in the oven that shouldn't go in the oven. And let's say you've got a game controller like a Wiimote or something, and you put the Wiimote in the oven, and hopefully it should still be able to connect to the Nintendo Wii while it's in the oven, and you have to do certain tasks in order to open it up and get it out and let it cool down again. And it's like, how long can you go? So let's say we take an existing game, thinking on the games on the Wii, Wii Golf. Every round of golf, you swap controllers around, you stick your controller in the oven, you need to try and do the entire 18 holes without your controllers melting and becoming unusable. Annoy, that's from the thing. Mad Pile, attorney at law. I don't know if Mad Pile is a specific person, so let's just say that Mad Pile is a pile and like a mound of earth. An angry mound of earth. And why is the mound of earth angry? The mound of earth is angry because why is the mound of earth angry? I don't know. Because it's an attorney. Okay, so the evidence is buried in the pile of earth. You play as a pile of earth, looking up at the world. You know where on your body all the evidence is buried. For example, the body, the keys, whatever, the fingerprints. These are all buried somewhere in your mounds. You need to direct people to them, but you can't move. You can only shout angry things at them. Or you can only shout things at them. You're mad in that, you're not mad that you're angry. You're mad in that you're unhinged. So let's just say, some of the things that you say will be lies. You need to tell one lie for every truth as people dig around in your body. And maybe the more wrong things they pull out of you, the more lies you have to tell. Or just the more things they pull out of you, the more lies you have to tell. Water slides, electric slides, taking sides. Water slides, electric slides, taking sides, paradise, 6 house TV, added Parias Paradise. Oh god. Water slides, electric slides, taking sides. I want to have something. Okay, so you're having a race. You're going down slides and you're racing to get to the bottom of the slides. We'll do this on real water slides, and we'll stick up obstacles in the way, like, things that you can bump into, like, I don't know, concrete blocks that will break your head. And so you have to jump from slide to slide in real life to stop bashing into them. Lightning for lighters. Lightning for lighters is a game in which you have to No, this is really hard. Why am I doing this? Lighting for lighters. You have a cigarette lighter. It's a game played using cigarette lighters, and you've got heat sensors so you can detect where is hottest, and you are like the god of lightning trying to power like electric generators and maybe not power other ones because they're owned by bad people or something. And so you trying to use these lighters in order to cause lightning to come down and strike the evil people and power the good people's power stations. Pigeon Death Threats is a game. Okay, so I'm assuming carrier pigeons carrying death threats to people was probably what whoever typed that was thinking of. Let me know if I'm right about that. So let's roll with that idea. Carrier pigeons are carrying death threats to people. But what if the carrier pigeons, like the Monty Python sketch where there's the funniest joke in the world, and if you read the funniest joke in the world, then you die of laughter. So the pigeons are carrying the funniest joke in the world with them, and so you are trying to track down this piece of paper with the funniest joke on the world written on it and attached to a pigeon, and you're trying to communicate with each other by pigeon mail in order to figure out where it is. There's an idea there. It's not fully fleshed out, but let's 2 ideas in 20 hours. That would be such a good idea. Why didn't I say that? Why didn't I pitch that? Okay, what question mark is that all question mark? What? Is that all? Okay, so I thought that was what blank is that all blank? So, okay, let's go with it's what blank is that all blank, and the game is that you draw 2 cards and they have words on it, and someone knows what, like, so you have to, like, let's say you get 2 words. You get like marbles and paperclip, and you have to give someone a bucket of marbles with a paperclip in it without them finding out that the paperclip is the thing in it. So you have to give someone many of one type of object so that they don't notice the other type of one object. So it's like, so that they would be going, what paperclip? Is that all marbles? There is the start of a good idea there. I like that. I'm assuming Piranha's taking Hollywood. Piranhas are eating the Hollywood sign. And you need to hit them off with a stick, and you need to run around to the different letters on the Hollywood sign in order to get the piranhas off it. And maybe you've got like 2 players here. One player is running around on the letters. They're controlling a character, and the character has like a piranha hitting stick. And then you've got another player behind the keyboard, and they're paying attention to what letters have the most piranhas on them. And so they are pressing the letters from the Hollywood sign in order to teleport the player with the stick onto that letter so they can hit the piranhas off. Love Blender. Love Blender. Okay, so Blender, so like a food processor, and you... Okay, I've come up with a really dodgy idea for this. I'm wondering if I should say it. I feel like I should just say it just to get it out of the way. Okay, so you got a blender and you are making different smoothies. And you make one smoothie with your love juice in it, and you have to try and pass off the smoothie like your friends have to guess which smoothie had your love juice in it. Like which one of them got the smoothie with the love juice. And that's it. That's the idea. Let's get away from that idea as fast as we can. Bomb Bomb Bounce. Bomb Bomb Bounce. Okay. It's kind of funny, like that I'm having more trouble with Bomb Bomb Bounce and than I did with basically an idea where people jizz into a blender. Bomb Bomb Bounce is like, okay, so you've got boiled sweets, so hard sucking sweets, and you have a jar and you have to throw the sweet onto the ground so that it bounces into the jar. So you get points for a bounce. If it breaks on the bounce, then you get extra points for each bit that ended up into the jar. So yeah, okay. Bottom gear. Bottom gear. So do we want to have a racing game where you want to stay in first gear for the entire time? Or maybe it's a game played with real cars on the real street, where you are driving around in first gear in your home streets, and you're driving around in a car on your real streets, in first gear, and you're racing, but there's going to be other traffic that's going to get really annoyed with you. Maybe that's the entire idea. It's rubbish, but let's do it anyway. Star jars. It's like Star Wars, but with jars. Star jars, like, okay, star jars, okay, so you've got a star and you've got to run around collecting stars. You've got, you're flying around in space and you need to launch jars out of a catapult so that they go and collect the stars inside them. But the stars are light years away. So you have to wait like several years in order to find out whether your jar accurately caught the star. Now, I am aware that there are 25 minutes left on the clock, and I am not very close to 200, so I need to hurry things up. So, giraffes on high heels. Okay, this is just a racing game where you are, like a horse racing game, you're sat on the back of a giraffe. It's wearing high heels, so it might fall over. But, you know, the faster you go, the more likely it is to fall over. But you can make it fall over into your opponent so it trips up the other giraffes. Analyze is a boring word. Eraser. Eraser, it's a game played using a sheet of paper which you cover in pencil. Like, it's kind of, and you have to make paths in it. Kind of like Where's My Water, where you have to carve the path for the water to go down. You use a real eraser to carve paths in the paper so the water can flow down it into different objectives. Arbitrate. Skip it. Space moisturizer. You are okay. You are in a gallery space, and you are trying to moisturize the walls so that they become so soft that you cannot tell what is wall and what is Damien Hirst without bones. Glamorized clams. You've got clam, and it's got a pearl inside it. You are a clam with a pearl inside of it. You need to trick the other clams into opening up so you can jump inside of them and steal the clams from them. Wasp Nest in a Car 3, my mum's allergic. Okay, so we take the game, it's a sequel to the game with the wasps driving a car, massively multiplayer wasp car driving game. But this time you are trying to crash into your opponent's car, or maybe there's crash into your opponent's car, so that you can get inside of that car and sting the mother that is in that car, who is allergic. Eyelash Flappers 20s. So, Eyelash Flappers, so you are trying to blow a balloon through an obstacle course by fluttering your eyelashes at it. Maybe we use real eyelashes, have motion sensors if it's digital, or let's just say we can build eyelashes big enough to act as fans and you're trying to blow a helium balloon through an obstacle course. Toilet Flash. People are in the toilet in a cubicle, you kick the door down, you take a photo of them with the flash on. The more people you can photograph without getting arrested, the more points you get. Teddy versus Jason. Teddy versus Jason. I'm thinking Teddy Roosevelt versus Jason. It's an election campaign in the 1910s? Was that Teddy Roosevelt was? And you have to compete against Teddy Roosevelt, but you're Jason Voorhees. So the way you do that is you crawl into people's dreams, the dreams of the American public, and you have to kill off people so that they vote for you instead of Teddy Roosevelt. Fridge Chronicles Last or Spoil. You put 30 shots of milk in the fridge, and every day you take a shot of milk. Can you get till the end of the month without being sick? Ike and Marie, the morning. One of you plays as Ike, one of you plays as Marie. I don't know what the two of you are like in the morning. Maybe you're morning people, maybe you're not. I'm going to say one of you's a morning person, the other's not a morning person. And you have to try and wake the other one up. Play that with a real person. Play it at 3 a.m. Get up at 3 a.m. and then, try to wake your partner up without them realizing that you were the one who woke them up. Viscosity, it's a game where you play as water and you have to go around soaking up stuff that will make you thick so you can get thick and, turgid enough that you can take on boneless Damien Hirst in battle. Fart Power, you are running for election, but the only way that you can compete is through farts. So you are in a presidential debate, and you have to fart during your opponent's speech in order to throw him off. And it's the funniest farts, best timed farts will swing the election your direction. Administer, that's from the debug pool. Look Sexy, the game. That feels just a more wholesome version of that book, The Game, which is about horrible ways to try and sleep with people if you have no respect for them, which is lovely. And let's take it, and you wanna be attractive, then look sexy. That's it. That's all there is to it. That feels like a much better thing. So how about Look Sexy? The game is You know, you're just trying to look sexy. You just stick a photo of yourself in a phone box and say, "Do I look sexy? Call this number." And whoever gets the most phone calls wins the game. Bada bing, bada boom. We got another wasp nest in the car. Wasp nest is a car. Okay. The wasp nest is a car. You are all wasps. You have to arrange yourselves into the form of a car so you can drive without being spotted. So it's a stealth game, but it's also a wasp-based, massively multiplayer game. Pariah's Paradise. I don't know who Pariah is. And her paradise, well, what would be in her paradise? It would be pears. So it's an island covered in pears, and you have to survive. Dark in Souls, nice, like it. And Dark in Souls. Okay, you all go to a party. Everyone gets given white in Souls except for one person who has Dark in Souls. You have to figure out which person is wearing Dark in Souls, and there's various challenges which will cause you to take off your shoes, like going swimming and stuff like that, or ice skating. Pirates Lost in Space. You're a pirate. That's a good start. Good, clever idea, Alistair. Well done. Lost in Space. You have to sail your ship through space and get back to Earth by throwing your anchor into black holes so you can swing round and kind of sling yourself through the universe using your anchor. Crustbuster. Who are you going to call? Crustbusters. Crustbuster is a game where you... Okay, so you cut the crusts off bread. Okay, how about this? This is a game to do once you've got a kid, okay? If you've got a kid, you can try this now. If the kid doesn't like eating sandwiches with crusts, cut the crusts off the sandwiches, okay? And do that for a year, and just collect all of the crusts in a big bucket, and then I'm getting to a punchline eventually. Eventually, like a year on, you just go up to him with the bucket and you grab all the crusts, all the mouldy crusts, and you stick them in the face and you say, "Eat your crusts, Buster!" There you go. Instant boredom cereals. Okay, I really like cereal, so all cereal is exciting to me. So what cereal would be... Okay, you need to make a cereal that I won't enjoy. That's the game. Make it out of whatever you like. The cereal that I enjoy the least is the one that wins the game. Barista Bonanza 2, we ran out of cookies. Cookies, Barista Bonanza 2. Okay, so we're going to use this barista controller, which like has weight and heat sensors to it, so you can play a game by making coffee on it. We're going to use that again. It's a game about cookies. How is that game played? You're using it to control a robot, like a drone, that picks up cookies and brings them to the tables of people in the restaurant. We're doing this in a real restaurant. Garbage Dinner Restaurant is a game where you have to go to... You are in a restaurant. It's Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, and you have to pass off... There's not enough ingredients to go in all the food, so you have to find creative garbage to put into the food to bulk it out without people noticing that there's garbage in the food. The Romanov Empire, a whodunit. Okay, that's what's his name? Rasputin and all that. Rasputin. You whodunit. Doctor Who done it. You are Doctor Who, and you have to travel back in time to pick off all the members of the Romanov Empire, and you have to catch them in the TARDIS before Rasputin stabs them. My candle broke. I'm so sorry to hear it. But now you have 2 candles, like, because there's the wick and so on. John Wick. I don't know where I'm going with that idea. My candle broke, and it is good. Okay, so something to do with writing messages in wax, and then you put a wash over them, and then you give them to another person, and maybe you have to figure out something. Do you know what? Okay, no, that's not good enough. Do you want a real... This needs to be a real idea. This needs to be like an actual meaningful, actionable game idea within reason. So, a candle has broken. You need to put it back together and light it. Like, just balance one bit of candle on top of the other and see if you can get through the whole melting of the candle without it falling off and setting fire to everything. Get to the popper. Okay. Poppers are something that you would have on your clothes so you can rip them off and reveal a second costume underneath. So, the game is, you are on stage, maybe you do this at a karaoke bar or something, and you are wearing so many layers of clothes, and you need to try and rip off like as many layers as you can, but also you need to do it in time with the music, and you need to do it so that you are still clothed by the end. You can't just rip everything off and then be clothed at the end. It like needs to be evenly spaced. Those hearts are those hearts, love hearts. The love hearts, the sweets with little hearts with the wholesome messages resting inside of them, like I love you and my dreamboat and stuff. And a game that you would play with those would be I want to say checkers with like sentiments. So you can take a checker, like, and the checkers are these love heart sweets, but you can only take it if the message rings true for you. So if it says I love you and you don't love the person you're playing with, you can't take that piece. Tissue toss. Okay, you're throwing tissues. Where are you throwing tissues? Into the bin from a long distance. I mean, that's a game. There we go. Done. Programmatic plushies. I mean, I'm not sure I want to make a game about racist toys. That would be like weird, weird Toy Story. Toy Story 5, Return of the Racist Toys. And Buzz Lightyear has been watching Breitbart and stuff and has just picked up a load of bad stuff. Okay. Actually, no, let's do that. Racist Buzz Lightyear. You are Woody. You need to, teach Buzz Lightyear. You need to make him aware of his racist attitudes and get him to change them. But you can only do that while the humans are out of the room because the Toy Story rules. Connection issues. Connection issues. Let's have a game where you want to use the game disconnecting in order to do stuff. So let's say it's like an MMO, you want to do a bunch of different MMO challenges, and every time you reconnected, it put you in a different location. So you'd want to disconnect and reconnect. Connection tissues, like it. You'd want to disconnect and reconnect. Okay, controversial happiness. I mean, I feel like we'd want to go back to racist Buzz Lightyear with this. But I can't think what that game would be. So, controversial happiness. Let's say something that would be controversial would be going on the BBC and doing the weather while naked. And it's like, if that makes you happy. And so you are a nude weather reporter on the BBC, and you need to get through the entire weather report before you are escorted from the building. Legless spiders. I mean, those are just raisins. So, legless spiders, or are the spiders legless because they're drunk? Drunk spiders. Okay. Right, okay. You have a remote control for a spider robot that is, you control each of its legs separately, and you have to control the spider as it goes through an obstacle course, and it's drunk. It's got like a kind of oscillation built into the sensors, so it acts drunk. Its sense of gravity is off. Inconvenient moisture with Roz, and that's an in-joke with Lily. Hi, Lily. Okay, inconvenient moisture with Roz, a game that I would make. Roz from Frasier has a band called the Inconvenient Moisture. So it's a game where you are Roz from Frasier's band, and you have to play in the coffee shop that they go to. But Frasier can't find out that you're in a band because you're moonlighting and you're not supposed to in your contract as his producer. So you have to hide your band from Frasier. So whenever Frasier's nearby, you need to hide all the band equipment in the thing, and so you can do all of the kind of you know how in Frasier they do the thing where one person goes out one door, another person goes on one door, one person heard someone over saying something and thought it meant something else, and we recreate that as a video game. I wish I could, that idea seems so clear in my head. Light switch simulator. I mean, that feels fully fleshed out already, so what would I do extra with it? You've got a light switch simulator. You have a 3D hand that you're trying to use to flick the light switch. When is it hard to flick a light switch? In the dark. You are in a dark room. The light switch is on the other side of the room. There's obstacles everywhere. You have a kind of physically modelled flippy floppy arm thing, and you have to a physically modelled ragdoll human, and you need to get to the other side of the room and find the light switch to switch it on. False fraud. False fraud, a game where, okay, I need to hurry this up. I've got 4 minutes to go. I think I'm going to make the 200. False fraud is false fraud. This is hard. Help. Okay, false teeth. You are trying to sell false teeth to Dracula, but some of them have wooden stakes in them, and so if he puts them in his mouth and if he chews, then the stakes will go in his face and he'll die. So you need to sell Act 1, you need to sell Dracula false teeth. Act 2, you need to get Dracula to try and eat something hard like an apple in order that he stakes himself. Sheep wrestler. Sheep are cuddly. They are nice to hug. So you have to cuddle a sheep. I have no idea. I have no idea what to do with this other than, like, okay, it's a wrestling game, but, like, come on, more than that. I need more than that. It's a wrestling game with sheep. Why are you wrestling the sheep? Because you are a sheepdog, and you are trying to get the sheepdog into the pen, and the pen is a wrestling ring. So it's like Royal Rumble, where you need to get the sheep, wrestle it, and then throw it into the wrestling ring. Okay, Old MacDonald starts an agriculture business but loses his ... Okay. Old MacDonald starts an agriculture business, E-I-E-I-O, and in that agriculture business there was money to be made, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald starts an agriculture business, and it is Ineptitudo added simulator. Thank you for making this nice and easy for me. Old MacDonald. Oh God, I have no idea. I have no idea. Like, genuinely. Okay, so it's a farm simulator. It's boring. Come on, think of a cool direction to take this in. Okay. Old MacDonald has planted all his animals and put crops in the barns and stuff. So you have to dig up all the animals and put the crops back into the ground in the holes where the animals used to be. Goose dumps. Okay. Oh, this is an easy one. You can do this in real life anywhere where there's geese. It's like, if there's loads of geese around, they will shit everywhere. And so you have to try and get from A to B without stepping on goose poo. Waspy decisions. So you are the hive mind of wasps, and you are. It's like 12 angry men, but there's 200 of you, and you're all wasps, and you need to figure out, like, whether someone is innocent or guilty. But the only way to do this is by wiggling your bum at them. There you go. It's communicating like bees do. So that is 110 games done, and I am happy. I am a very happy man. I am exhausted. Obviously, I am way off 200. I am really far off 200. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for all these lovely comments. So, I feel exhausted. I feel mentally exhausted, like shattered. I think one of the kind of hardest things about that was to see, like towards the end, you could see it right at the end there, where I was like, a farm game. Like, it seems like there should be plenty to work with there. And I just had nothing. Like, nothing going on in there. And it was really weird. Thank you for all the lovely comments, everyone. Another thing, I noticed myself, I did slow down quite a bit. And then when I kind of tried to, I was like, okay, no, I need to pick up the pace. I just need to get out rubbish ideas quickly. And, like, that is really hard to keep up. Because as soon as you get one that throws you and you just end up freezing, it'll be funny to watch this back because, like, I can't actually remember, except for sheep wrestling, wasps driving a car, Damien Hirst without bones. I can't remember. I can't even remember what I did for the... Oh no, it was the animals are buried and the crops are in the barn. That's what I did for the agriculture one. Like, so... Question coming up, what am I doing on Friday? So this Friday I will be back again. I will be back in the guise of your old friend Dr. Eggman. So if you were at Overkill last year, you may have met Dr. Eggman doing an interactive show. Dr. Eggman has come up with some new video game equipment now. The new video game equipment also works off the back of you, the audience, typing into chat. So if you've ever seen me on Twitter or anything, or if you've ever, if you were at Overkill last year, you know that I have a Mega Drive emulator which I have adapted to do a bunch of like weird glitchy stuff. What I have created for Overkill this year is a version of the emulator that whenever someone types anything into Twitch chat, it will create a new weird effect. So I'm just going to be trying to get to the end of some games, and you, the audience, have the opportunity to try and mess me up as much as you like. So that's at Friday. I think that's at 10 p.m. Central European time, 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So if you're in the UK, that is 9 p.m. If you're in the Netherlands, that's 10 p.m. If you're anywhere else, I guess you do the maths. Thank you very much to everyone for coming to this. Thank you so much for taking part. Honestly, I think 110 game ideas in 2 hours is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. It was a lot of fun doing it. I remember none of it. I came up with 110 ideas. I'm glad I got them on video because I could not remember what the vast majority of them are. So, thank you very much for coming. Sorry you had the wrong time, Ichaki. I hope, but hopefully, I'll see you next time. And I'm glad you did get to get a bit of it. I guess this is me signing off now, so thank you very much, everyone, for attending. There is plenty more Overkill Festival still to come, so, Ika, would you be able to put into the chat where people can find out more? The Overkill.nl has the schedule and for all the upcoming events, streams and things over the next few weeks, next few days. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for all your wonderful suggestions. There were some really good ones. I am especially thankful for all the ones that did throw me. There were some fantastic curveballs in there. So you all deserve to be very proud of yourselves. I think we did good work tonight, everyone. So thanks very much. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And keep on being awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. Alright, bye-bye everyone. And I've got to find the thing. I can't move my mouse. There we go. Bye.